Hallo und herzlich willkommen. Wir spielen mal wieder Vampyr. Ja, unser kleines Spiel mit Biss. Und wir sind wieder, wenn ich jetzt hier eine neue Aufnahme starte, also in unserem neuen Lager. Und ja, ich werde mal gucken, dass wir hier so ein paar Medikamente vielleicht mal herstellen. Ich glaube, hier Erschöpfung hatten wir ein bisschen, Erkältung hatten wir. Ja, dann so, das können wir noch gar nicht. Dafür fehlt uns ja Kaliumpermanganat. Ja, vielleicht mal noch eins für Blutvergiftung. Mal gucken. So, mal gucken, wie viel wir davon brauchen werden. Wir gehen jetzt erstmal weiter. In die Stadt. Wir haben ja einige Gespräche noch zu führen. Und dabei können wir bestimmt auch mal den ein oder anderen Bürger heilen. So. Gucken, wo lang ging es jetzt hier? So, jetzt gehe ich hier unten rum. Setze dieser Erpressung ein Ende. Okay, ich gehe mal zu den Leuten, wo wir schon geredet haben. Das müsste hier links gewesen sein. So, der war gesund. Der war auch gesund, aber der hier drinnen war, glaube ich, krank. Ich gebe dir mal so ein
Good
Mittel.
evening, Harry. May I come in?
Sure. Even my dreams are soaked with glue.
Alter Pessimist
So.
hier.
May I ask?
I'm not bothered.
So. Ich glaube, ich muss das Gespräch
Goodbye, young man.
beenden, oder?
Take care of yourself.
Even my dream.
Wie gebe ich ihm nochmal
So.
das Medikament?
I'm not.
Irgendwie ging das doch. So kann ich den nicht heilen. Wie ging das nochmal?
Goodbye, young man.
Ich kann ihn echt nicht heilen.
Is there only pain and suffering in this world?
Naja, gut. So, was haben wir hier oben Feines?
Forgive my interruption.
Do not apologize, my son. Father Tobias Whitaker is always happy to teach mortals about the incoming Armageddon.
I am Dr. Jonathan Reed, and I just have a few questions.
A scientist? You are much more lost than I thought, my son.
Was?
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences, and most of them can't see the plain truth.
Quite a judgmental opinion, if you ask me. But what do I know? Blinded by science as I am.
But you are seeking answers, aren't you? Answers about the Armageddon about to strike the city. Answers about the hidden truth.
Na, schieß mal
Well,
los.
I suppose I can spare a few minutes listening to your so-called truth.
As a doctor, you must be aware of the decimating epidemic. But let me tell you that this so-called Spanish flu is just the beginning of the end.
What do you mean?
The beast is finally revealing itself, corrupting the flesh and the heart of men. With my own eyes I have seen them, those minions from the abyss.
Really? And what would be your answer to this biblical threat?
We must fight the disease before this legion outnumbers us. But not with scalpels and microscopes. No.
What is left then?
Cleansing fire.
Tell me, Tobias, What exactly is your plan concerning the cleansing of this city?
God will recognize his own. More than once this city has risen from the ashes, hardened and purified by the flames.
Warum habe ich mit dem geredet?
Fire is just the instinctive answer of a caveman facing something he does not understand. This is the 20th century.
Your lack of faith is predictable. But my task is to convince rational minds like yours to see the light. This is God's will.
You're mad and dangerous. You're nothing but a soulless butcher. A small-time Torquemada. The Savonarola of Whitechapel.
My son, if you think salvation is a free gift, go listen to the lies of that pompous fool, Joseph.
Joseph, a fool?
Vicar Larrabee of St. Mary's Church. While he continues preaching his fraudulent redemption, more and more people die in the streets.
Eieiei, Hirn gibt's offensichtlich auch nicht umsonst.
What do you mean when you say that I am more lost than you thought?
All scientists are entangled in a world of causes and consequences. And
Quite a job.
Nein.
I am.
So, was haben wir hier?
Have you any friends? Any family left in these terrible times?
No. But I have a disciple I see as my son. He is so devoted. I sent him to preach the good word in the heart of this corrupted city.
You sent him on some preaching crusade during the epidemic.
As a true believer, Samuel will fear no evil while he walks through the valley of the shadow of death.
Where did you send him?
I sent Samuel to the Stonebridge Cemetery, where the pestilence and evil grows night after night.
Ich würde ja sagen, der Typ hat nicht alle Tassen im Schrank. Ich bezweifle, dass er überhaupt weiß, was eine Tasse ist.
Do you know
Oh,
Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like the liberal ideas of nurses, but I especially abhor that Nurse Crane you mentioned.
Why do you hate Nurse Crane more than other nurses?
Before coming to London, she was a member of the communist resistance in our country. That's what happens when you let a woman get involved in politics.
Kann ich doch mal, wir sind im 20. Jahrhundert auswählen, bitte?
So, you're not exactly a fan of Florence Nightingale's work. But nurses are essential for modern healthcare.
Nuns should be the only women allowed to take care of male patients. It's obvious only they have the necessary moral fiber.
Weißt du was?
I have heard enough for today.
Tschüss. Ich sag nicht mal tschüss, ich gehe einfach. Mein Gott, ey. Was ein Hunk. Okay, da kommen wir. Ich würde das mal hier die Gegend erkunden wollen. Was war denn da drin? Hier rein. Achso, naja, okay. Vielleicht bekommen wir hier später noch eine Quest. Ich guck, kommen wir hier in die Kirche rein.
Your home will not protect you, for there is no protection
Nein.
against malevolence and trickery. You are blinded.
Ah, hier können wir mit jemandem reden.
Excuse me, sir. Are you familiar with this part of town? Name's Clayton Darby, reporter.
Sorry, I'm new to Whitechapel. But perhaps you could help me since you're a journalist. My name is Jonathan Reed.
Dr. Reed, the famous surgeon. I'll gladly help if I'm able, sir.
Ah, was haben wir?
Why are the newspapers keeping silent about the Spanish influenza? It's as though none of you care.
There's a war going on. People shouldn't be demoralized by news of deadly diseases.
It's a disgrace. People are left to die alone. No one is properly informed of the risks.
These are bad times indeed. So much for the glorious British Empire.
Have you any idea of the danger you face in these streets at night?
I've had to run and hide more than once from frenzied mobs incensed by the fever. Do you think the flu is really responsible for this, Doctor?
Mein Rationalismus wurde erschüttert.
I must confess, some of my rational views have been shaken by recent events.
I'll remember to stay away from the district's roughest streets then.
What is a journalist doing in this borough after sunset?
He goes where none of his colleagues would dare to go, to inform the country.
That's quite honorable of you. But is the public interested?
Not at all, sir. And that's why I'm an independent journalist, hoping to sell some stories.
So you risk your life to reveal the truth. I saw many reporters do the same during the war.
Whitechapel is the crucible of so many untold stories and tragedies. I want people to know them.
Ja, wenn es jetzt doch nicht interessiert.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby.
Okay.
Farewell.
Ja, leidet unter Erschöpfung. Aber können wir ihm nicht das Mittel geben? Wir haben doch ein Erschöpfungsmittel da.
Do you need assistance?
That would be nice of you, Doctor. Who knows what I may have caught during my investigation.
If you persist in investigating the most pox-ridden boroughs of London, you must accept the risks.
Thank you, sir.
Ah, damit ging das.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell.
Also zur Erklärung, mit der rechten Taste, mit dem hinteren kann ich mir die Info anschauen, mit der vorderen rechten Taste kann ich das extra mal starten. Okay, da können wir auch nochmal zu dem Typen in das Haus zurückgehen. Den können wir dann bestimmt auch damit heilen. So, was haben wir hier? Jetzt zu Hause, das können wir ja schon, da geht's nicht rein. Da oben. Nichts, wie es aussieht, okay. So, gucken wir hier rein. Nein. Die Kirche, was steht hier? Quarantäne, okay. Was haben wir hier? Blumenstrauß, ein kleiner Blumenstrauß. Ein Gutschein für eine kostenlose medizinische Untersuchung ist zwischen den Blumen versteckt. Okay, statt die Blumen schimmern, nicht, dass es die gewesen wären. Das ist abgeschlossen. Was ist das hier? Sind das nicht Blumen? Das ist dasselbe. Text. So, da haben wir so ein Camellia.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed. I'd like to ask you a few questions. I know what you're thinking. A tall stranger who meets a girl in the street at night. It reeks of the penny dreadfuls. But I mean you no harm, truly.
Ich glaube, sie kann einfach nicht reden.
I know you understand what I'm saying. Your silence has nothing to do with you being mute, does it?
Okay, er hat ein bisschen den Kopf geschüttelt.
Melia, I know you work for Dorothy Crane. Please tell me about her secret dispensary. A stubborn and mute comrade. Nurse Crane and Darius Petrescu have been clever. Very well.
Ich meine, was will sie denn darauf sagen, wenn sie nicht reden kann? Was erwartet der Mann? Whitechapel Old. Also hier geht's jetzt zum nächsten Bezirk und da oben wäre es nur in so eine kleine Nebenhalle gegangen. Okay. Den Bezirk will ich nicht verlassen, dann gehen wir mal in die andere Richtung. Halten vielleicht doch mal den einen Typen. In dem Haus, wo wir wissen, wie das geht. Beziehungsweise solange wir noch wissen, wie es geht.
Good evening, Harry.
Sure.
So.
Even my dreams are soaked with...
So,
I'm not
do you need any medical help?
Yes, I do.
You'll feel better with this. But you need to get a grip, young man. Medication alone won't cure melancholia.
I'm not sure I'm happy with the idea of living long in a world like this. But I thank you for your concerns and...
Naja.
Goodbye, young man. Take care.
Gott.
Is there only pain and
Ja, ist doch in Ordnung. Ja, lass ich dich für eine Sekunde zusammenreißen. Mülltonne hier looten. Federn. Dadurch. Noch nicht, okay. Kommen wir in das Haus rein? Ja.
What do you want? Leave me alone.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I'm looking for Nurse Dorothy Crane.
There is no Dorothy Crane here. Now goodbye.
I'm afraid this medical leaflet says the opposite, sir.
Really? Well, I'm afraid I'm going to close this door right now. Go bother someone else, Mr. Doctor.
To enter that house, I must discover who this man really is. Maybe I could start by observing what he's up to.
Okay, was genau muss ich jetzt tun?
A strange man was at the door with a pass for our medical facility. I refused him entry.
Darius, how could you know he didn't need our help?
His clothes were too finely tailored to be from Whitechapel.
Perhaps just a friend of that stray poet who is always about.
Richard Nithercott? No, not of the same cloth, this man. I suspect some machination from that journalist.
Clayton Darby. Is he still asking questions?
Yes. I saw him drifting around St. Mary's Church. I swear he is tracking me just downwind.
I must talk to that journalist or the poet. They must know about Darius. Nearby the church they just mentioned. It's locked, all right.
Okay, da hätte ich vielleicht, dass wir dorthin gehen sollen. Mit dem noch reden, wer ist das? Oder mit der?
Good evening, miss.
Good evening, sir. Are you interested in a miraculous cure for this unknown and deadly epidemic?
Actually, I am.
Then you have come to the right place. The famous Swanborough cordial is all you need to help keep you in perfect health.
Oh, Really? Why didn't I hear about it during my studies? I'm Jonathan Reed, by the way. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Ah, my brother has spoken of your research, sir. I'm Loretta Swanborough, and it's always a pleasure to meet a fellow healer.
Warum glaube ich dir nicht so richtig?
Tell me, who intrigues you most in Whitechapel?
The region itself is something to see, but I would say Camellia the mute florist who gives away her flowers.
What do you think of the locals?
Most of them are afraid or desperate. They all come to me eventually for my remedy.
Is there anyone I should avoid?
Cadogan Bates, without a doubt. The bloody bastard remorselessly exploits poor migrants as soon as they get here.
So, das wird wahrscheinlich
Do you
nichts
know
ergeben.
Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? I'd like to know more about her.
I don't like to talk about competition.
Competition, you say?
Never met her, but it seems she provides some sort of medical care to the poor. The whole thing has to be some sort of scam, if you ask me.
Aber ich frage mich, warum die ganze Zeit
I'd
immer
like
so
to
in
see
Blut
what kind
gebadet
of
ist.
medicine you're selling.
Permanganat, das bräuchten wir theoretisch. Ganz schön teuer eigentlich. So, wo geht's jetzt hier lang? Achso, das war die Passage, okay. Ja, ich denke, ich werde mal die beiden Leute... So, Clayton. Einer von den Clayton. Clayton, das hier. War das Clayton? Ich habe den Namen schon vergessen. Stadt, ne?
Good evening, Harry. May I come in?
Sure.
Nein. Das war er
Dreams are soaked with glue.
offensichtlich nicht. Ja, das Haus ist aber auch wirklich zu gut. Okay, also der Journalist war auf jeden Fall hier. Wo soll die angeblich sein? Okay, einer hier und einer da hinten anscheinend. Der Journalist war doch die ganze Zeit hier, willst du dich verarschen? Ach, da vorne rennt er rum. Hier komme ich natürlich nicht raus, also zurück da. Halt, wer bist du? Können wir nicht. Lass mal reden.
Don't be shy, handsome. What can Christina do for you?
I'm not looking for what you're selling. But I'd like to ask you a few questions, if I may. I'm a doctor. Dr. Reed.
All right then, but be quick. Though I usually get paid when I open my mouth.
Christina, have you been examined? The epidemic is spreading fast in London, and you could be exposed, or expose others.
I don't like doctors or hospitals, but I don't like you asking questions.
Considering your line of work, I assure you it is only a matter of time before you have health issues.
If it is going to happen, it will happen. Right now, I need money. That's what's important.
Naja.
You can put your own life in danger, that's your decision. But what about your clients? If you're contaminated, you will put them in danger too.
And you think that would worry me? If you knew the men I deal with, their health would not be what you'd worry about.
Ach, es ist einfach gut, wenn man seinen Job mag.
Clayton Darby claims he will expose the crisis in Whitechapel to all of London. Do you believe him?
I believe Clayton's courage will erode with time, until he finally leaves Whitechapel to start another fight somewhere else.
Are you talking from experience?
I've seen your type come here to get a good fuck in a cheap room or a dark alley before going back to their fancy houses in the West End.
Why this skepticism?
How can you speak about starvation if you've never been hungry? Or about poverty? Or anything else you have never suffered from?
Tell me about yourself.
Are you joking with me? People don't usually come to see me for conversation.
I have no interest in your work. I am, however, curious as to what led you into this career.
Short story. The war, exile, and England. This country is not especially welcoming. I've been refused many jobs because of where I am from. I had few options left.
I always thought I was the master of my own fate. But now I know we don't always have control over our lives. I don't judge you.
You know, this money is not only for me. I have good reasons to need this money quickly. But it is not your concern, Doctor.
Tja, kann ich jetzt nicht dazu sagen.
Do you know Nurse Dorothy Crane from the Pembroke Hospital? Anything you can tell me about her would be helpful.
I don't know her, but I know her name is Dorothy Crane. She came from Romania like me and many others.
You seem to respect her.
Dorothea helps the sick people of Whitechapel. Everyone should respect that.
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you
Ich
can.
frage mich, warum die ganze Zeit so einen blutverschmierten Anzug hat. Ist das auch eine Vampirin? Okay, das ist nicht der Typ. So, mein Guter, komm mal her auf den Meter.
Good evening, Doctor. Can I help you?
Ja, das kannst du.
I heard you're investigating an underground medical dispensary in Whitechapel. What do you know about it?
Not much, I'm afraid. They are wary of strangers, and I'm not really an acquaintance of theirs. Why do you care?
Ja, das ist ein bisschen Quatsch, das ist auch... Ich weiß nicht, ob, wenn wir das machen, ob er dann auspackt. Als Journalist ist er bestimmt in sowas interessiert.
I'm afraid one of the nurses from the Pembroke Hospital may be involved with unsavory activities.
Ah, could it be Dorothy Crane?
Without a doubt, you are a damn fine journalist, Mr. Darby. What do you know of her accomplice, a man named Darius?
I don't know much about the man. He's very cautious. Never goes out. Doesn't seem to have any friends or family.
He has no relatives at all?
No. Except for that strange man, a poet named Richard Nethercott, who sometimes comes by. Darius would never let him in.
Where can I find this Mr. Nethercott?
He spends most of his time lurking around Whitechapel, talking to himself or declaring verses. These days, you can usually find him behind the church.
He never goes out?
No. A few days ago, he unexpectedly did. I followed him, but it was just a ruse to keep me away from his house.
Really? How do you know?
He went to the nearest mailbox, but just before posting his letter, he ripped it up and threw it away.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby.
Okay. Das hat sich doch gelohnt. Was haben wir hier eigentlich noch? Wo kommen wir oben überhaupt hin? Ich glaube, das war irgendwann später mal. Momentan gibt es eigentlich nicht wirklich einen Grund, da zu kämpfen. Ich glaube, der Eingang war hier oben links, ja. Genau, das war auch die offene Tür. Also finde den Typen und finde den Briefkasten und den Brief. Okay, also das ist da und das da oben. Okay, wir gehen erstmal hier oben lang. das? Au. Shit, 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 shit. Ist doch aber auch halt auch mal wieder gut hier. Mein Gott. Schlimm mit denen. Das war ja wieder ein Qualitätskampf hoch 10. Hast du irgendwas zu melden? Ein Zigaretten-Etui. Nicht schlecht. Ist auch nicht gut. Aber immerhin nicht schlecht. Influencer, ja, das kann man doch schon. Okay, guck mal wieder. War da irgendwas? Wenn ich auf die Karte guckt, hier ist doch irgendwo so ein Durchgang dahinter. Oder? Scheinbar nicht von hier. Na gut. Guckt mal halt mal durch dieses Türchen hier.
Some of us come to this world already touched by grace.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I would like to ask you a few questions.
Please be my guest. Although I may not be the best informant regarding this part of town, my words speak about that which the eyes cannot see.
Really? Are you an artist of some kind?
I'm a poet, sir. Richard Nethercott, at your service.
Das war immerhin lieber als dieser Priester da, oder Pastor, wie man das nennt.
May I ask what you're doing at this hour of night, sir? Do you live here?
Not at all. I'm just enjoying the pleasure of a quiet walk. Though night talks are always preferable, if you ask me. Especially with strangers.
But are you not afraid of the epidemic?
Oh, why should I? I see some equity in the Spanish flu. No flesh should be saved, say the scriptures. Good or evil, rich or poor, all are equal in the eyes of the flu.
If you say so. But as a physician in a time of epidemic, I must caution you to avoid unnecessary exposure, sir.
Thank you, Doctor. But we both know the seeker of truth has to go boldly where the weak dare not.
What are your thoughts on the terrible situation in this city?
Terrible, you say? No. Of course, the death of so many innocents is a tragedy. But the scourge has not been all bad for city. Oh, no, sir.
What are you talking about?
Do you remember London before the flu? Noisy, cacophonic, quiet nowhere to be found. And now, listen to this oddly peaceful silence.
Das ist wirklich etwas strange.
Yes. The enjoyable silence of the grave. You have a unique perspective on the situation, I must admit.
Most people fail to understand my perspective. I don't blame them. But how could I call myself a poet if I veiled my feelings?
Are you aware that your life could be in danger in this part of town?
But this is where I must be to feel the real beat of the city. I had to come, see it for myself, alone.
If some misfortune came upon you, who would be here to help you?
Well, you for a start, my dear doctor.
I understand
zu
your
jeder
need for
Tageszeit.
solitude, but it's not safe around here.
I don't care. I don't have many friends, Doctor, and my family despises me.
Tell me, Mr. Nethercott, why seek inspiration in Whitechapel?
The place is not beautiful per se, but how to explain it? Stirring and challenging.
In what way, exactly?
The struggle by gaslight, the barren smiles, and the arid hunger under the rain.
If you say so.
Such vibrant antagonism and vivid paradox. The stripped humanity raged across each street.
Vivid, of course, yes. And what about the poignant distress?
Oh yes, the poignant distress. You see what I mean, don't you? That's what I want to write about, and that's what Whitechapel is made of.
Ja.
Do you not think it a little morbid?
On the contrary, sir. Whitechapel is full of life, full of beauty. Just like my dear muse, the wonderful Camellia.
What can you tell me about Camellia?
Not much, and that's the beauty of it. She can't speak, you know. She's a locked mystery who exhales kindness and sweetness.
Perhaps you're just afraid to find out the truth about your muse.
One day, perhaps, I'll ask her to come with me. But will she still be my wild flower of Whitechapel if she moves uptown?
And have you ever tried to learn more about her? Where she lives? How she survives? Whom she may know?
Maybe I prefer she remains an enigma. Reality can be so dull, don't you think?
Ich kann dem Erstsein nicht so ganz folgen gerade.
Did you know the mute florist is a member of a secret society?
No, I didn't. But I thank you for this information, sir. For it only enriches the mystery surrounding the precious Camellia.
I fear you are a hopeless romantic, Mr. Nethercott.
Guilty as charged, Dr. Reed.
Are you not curious? Is there not more you wish to know?
That girl has not an ounce of malice in her. Whatever she may be hiding, it's certain to be for the benefit of most, if not all.
Tja, das ist halt so die Frage, ne? Ich weiß nicht, was sie überhaupt vorhat. Vielleicht finden wir es noch raus.
May I ask you a few questions about the district?
Extraordinary part of town, is it not? I'll be glad to help you, if I can.
Ja. Was war über die da?
I'm looking for Dorothy Crane, a nurse who lives in this vicinity.
Dorothy Crane. Oh, I love the name. The Crane of Whitechapel. Sounds very mysterious. But, sorry, no, never heard of her.
Gut, dann kennst du vielleicht den Darius.
What can you tell me about an old man called Darius?
Darius Petrescu? Yes, I know him. At first, I thought he was only a small publisher. I invited him to publish my work, but his reaction was pretty clear.
Not interested in your talent?
Darius is an old political activist who takes delight in printing tracts and lampoons. Those communist activities only require mediocre writing skills.
Okay.
I'll leave you alone, sir.
Was genau hat uns das jetzt gebracht? Absagebrief eines Verlages. Suche Publishing Ltd. Lavender Court, Camden Street, London. Sehr geehrter Mr. Nethercott, vielen Dank für die Übersendung Ihres Gedichtbandes Lieder aus der besiegten Stadt, den wir interessant und tiefgründig fanden. Wie wir Ihnen schon nach Erhalt des ersten Exemplares mitteilten. Haben Sie angesichts der schrecklichen Zeiten, die unser Land durchlebt, bitte Verständnis dafür, dass es momentan völlig ausgeschlossen ist, ein Buch mit diesem Titel zu veröffentlichen. Da Sie sich noch immer weigern, den Titel zu ändern und Ihr Werk vollständig oder gar nicht publiziert sehen wollen, muss ich Ihnen leider mitteilen, dass sich Suche Publishing für letztere Option entschieden hat. Mit freundlichen Grüßen, A.G. Morris. Okay, jetzt halt können wir den wahrscheinlich noch ein bisschen weiter ausfragen, nehme ich an. Achso, und er hatte eine Krankheit.
Good evening.
Daran
And good evening.
denken. Persönliche Fragen.
You don't really make a living from your scribblings, do you, Richard?
No, sir, I don't. I work so hard. I put all my time, my energy, my devotion into the precise carving of words.
Still, you don't seem to suffer from poverty.
With thanks to my parents, actually. I'm afraid I would not be able to live on my own without their help.
You seem embarrassed.
Someday I hope to proudly offer my first publication to my parents. Until that day, I'll remain the failure of a son they have to support.
I'll leave you alone, sir.
Okay, hier war noch ein Tor zu öffnen. Ah, das sind wir jetzt wieder hier, okay. Aber die haben wir doch jetzt noch was rausgefunden.
Hello again, miss.
Ernsthaft?
Tell me about Richard Nethercott. I understand he is quite fond of you, Camellia. Very well. Goodbye then.
Das war richtig geil, das Gespräch. So, der Briefkasten soll hier sein. Ist die Blume der Briefkasten? Hier ist doch was. Das hat das Ding nicht geleuchtet. Der Briefkasten soll aber schon da sein. 17 Metern. Ich bin ein wenig überfragt, um ehrlich zu sein. Ist zwischen den Blumen versteckt. Scheint schon das zu sein, aber... Was soll ich hier tun, verdammt?
Hello again, miss. Camellia, I know you work. Very well.
Was muss stehen? Findet den Briefkasten und den Brief. Das soll wirklich hier sein? Darius Petrus' Brief. Meine lieben Kinder, es tut mir so leid, dass ihr einige Monate lang nichts von mir gehört habt. Die Lage in London war schwierig. Ich weiß, es klingt vielleicht egoistisch und töricht, wenn ihr, meine Kinder, noch in einem Land lebt, das vom Krieg heimgesucht wird. Aber auch hier in England tobt ein Krieg. Ein Krieg gegen Armut und Ungerechtigkeit. Diesen Krieg will ich trotz meines fortgeschrittenen Alters führen. Deshalb schreibe ich euch heute. Ich werde nicht nach Rumänien zurückkehren. Das bedeutet, ich sehe euch wahrscheinlich nicht wieder, bevor ich sterbe. Seid nicht traurig, meine Lieben. Ihr seid mittlerweile erwachsen und habt selbst Kinder. Ihr wisst, welche Opfer wir manchmal bringen müssen, um diese Welt zu einem besseren Ort zu machen. Und dieses muss ich nun bringen, damit ich mich noch ein letztes Mal nützlich fühlen kann. Ich wünsche euch ein langes und glückliches Leben. Gebt meinen Enkeln einen Kuss von mir und vergesst nicht, dass euer Vater euch auch weit ab der kalten Heimat liebt. Euer euch ewig liebender Vater, Darius Petrus.
The content of Darius' letter to his children could give me more leverage to enter.
Okay.
Darius is a bit less of a mystery now. It should not be that difficult to incite him to let me in.
Auf jeden Fall geil, was das für ein Briefkasten war. So, habe ich jetzt diese Gasse hier links schon erkundet? Müsste doch eigentlich schon noch eine Abkürzung sein, oder? Hier noch eigentlich. So, wollen wir doch mal gucken, ob er uns jetzt reinlässt.
Mr. Petrescu, just 1 minute, please.
You again? Go away.
Stufe 2 benötigt.
Sir, wait. Stop this nonsense. I know Nurse Crane is here. Shall we speak man to man, you and I?
All right. Speak up.
Don't you see we're on the same side? We fight to help the poor, sick, and abandoned.
I'm nothing like you, Mr. Doctor.
Yes, you are. You too believe in providing medical care without charge. You know what we have to sacrifice to make the world a better place.
I have to admit your words have conviction. All right, I'll let you see Dorothea. Don't make me regret this, though.
Okay. Ja, mal ausrauben. Stört den halt auch nicht. Können wir reden?
If you want to talk to Dorothea, you must go across the courtyard and take the stairs.
We've not been formally introduced. May I ask your name and occupation, sir?
I am Darius Petrescu. I'm here to keep snitches and spies away from Dorothea. And I also run this little print shop.
Ja. Das ist schön.
So Dorothy's real name is not Crane.
Like myself and many people in this area, Dorothea is from occupied Romania. That's all you need to know.
She seems important to the community.
More than you can imagine. The West End does not want to hear of Whitechapel's misery. Dorothea is one of the few doing something about it.
Tell me everything you know about Camellia, the mute florist.
I do not believe in the afterlife, Doctor, but I'm almost convinced Camellia is an angel. She volunteered to give out our medical leaflets.
Who is she, really? Do you know where she's from?
She's not from around here, that's all we know. Camellia is not even her name. It's her favorite flower.
You say she has no close family?
Well, there's that awful poet who constantly follows her around like a lost puppy. A good man for sure, but a very poor writer.
Are you not worried for her safety?
She is as brave as she is tough, and clever too. If only I had met her when I was younger.
Are you in love with Camellia, Mr. Petrescu?
Don't be stupid. If I had met her when I was younger, we could have won our revolution.
Did you refuse to publish Richard Nethercott's previous works, Darius?
Yes, his manuscript is as pompous as he is starched. Now there's a man who loves the sound of his own voice.
You could have told him so.
As a great writer recently said, politeness is the most acceptable hypocrisy.
Tell me everything you know about Camellia, the mute florist.
I do not believe it.
Do you have any family left, Mr. Petrescu? Children or grandchildren?
Who knows? I have abandoned my people for so long, they might as well be dead. As dead as I am for them, I suppose.
This war won't last forever. Did you ever think of returning to your country now it's free?
No. I have taught strength and determination to my sons and daughters. I'm an old, dying man who only has memories of better times to cherish.
Don't be embarrassed, sir. If you must know, my own father disappeared many years ago, and I forgave him.
It's quite awkward to talk about our families like this, but thank you, Dr. Reed. I appreciate your trust.
How did you meet Nurse Crane, Darius? Why does she trust you?
I'm her oldest friend in England. Dorothea and I share many ideas about this country and about the country we left.
You mean occupied Romania, don't you? Even if not directly, I fought against your enemies.
Really? Then perhaps you have more in common with Dorothea than meets the eye, Dr. Reed.
I know you fought for your country when it was occupied, Darius. Tell me more about it.
I know my days are numbered, and I know I won't see my homeland again. But I fought for Romania all my life, and I will until my last breath.
But Romania escaped the grasp of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. It's a free country again.
But it's not the country I fought for. My homeland is not appeased, Doctor. And I still see a dark future ahead for my people.
Er kämpft für sein Heimatland, indem er hier in London ist? Okay. War das schon, ja.
Goodbye, Mr. Petrescu.
Gut. Mal noch hier diese Schublade gucken. Flasche billiger Gin. Klingt ein wenig minderwertig. Was? Ich hab doch ein neues Sammelobjekt bekommen. Wo ist denn das? Nein, nein. Moment, wo waren diese Sammelobjekte? Es gab doch gerade irgendwie so einen Brief. Warum konnte ich ihn jetzt nicht lesen?
It's locked, all right.
Das ist der Whitechapel. Kann ich das jetzt öffnen? Okay, jetzt haben wir hier eine Abkürzung gefunden. Das ist sehr gut. Und hier haben wir jetzt eigentlich nichts weiter als den Zugang zu der Ärztin. Und was haben wir hier noch? Hier geht es aber weiter zum nächsten Bezirk, oder? Oder waren wir hier schon? aber da gehen wir jetzt auch nicht hin. So, was sagt die Zeit? Ja. Ja, ich würde sagen, mit der Ärztin sprechen wir dann das nächste Mal. Werde ich den Part an dieser Stelle mal beenden. Ich danke euch wieder fürs Zuschauen und bis zum nächsten Mal. Ein zu heißes Let's Play. Vampyr. Tschüss, bis dahin.